Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody this evening. If I could get your attention. We got a big crowd in Chambers tonight. Nice to see. Usually a bigger crowd than this for our regular meetings. I don't know where they're all to tonight. No, it's good to see such a big crowd. Obviously, it's a very special occasion. We're going to be welcoming a couple of new members to our council. Before we get into the formal part of things, we do have some business to take care of. We've got some other guests here tonight, special guests. Before I invite anybody up, there's a proclamation to read, and it's with regards to Purple Day for Epilepsy, which will be on March 26th coming up. So I'll go ahead and read that into the record. The proclamation is Purple Day for Epilepsy, March 26th. Whereas Purple Day is a global effort dedicated to promoting epilepsy awareness in countries around the world. And whereas Purple Day was founded by 9-year-old Cassidy Megan of Nova Scotia, who wanted to let people know that if you have epilepsy, you're not alone. And whereas epilepsy is one of the most common neurological conditions, estimated to affect over 10,000 people in Newfoundland and Labrador, and over 300,000 people in Canada, and 50 million worldwide. And whereas 1 in 10 persons will have at least one seizure during his or her lifetime. And whereas the public is often unable to recognize common seizure types or how to respond with appropriate first aid. And whereas Purple Day will be celebrated on March 26th annually to increase understanding, reduce stigma, and improve the quality of life for people living with epilepsy throughout the country and globally. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Barry Manuel, Mayor of the Town of Grand Falls-Windsor, do hereby proclaim March 26th as Purple Day in an effort to raise the awareness and understanding of epilepsy and to support all those who live with seizures each day. Sign that. Okay, next up. As many, if not all, will know, there's been some serious fundraising efforts going on in Grand Falls-Windsor and the area the last number of months, and it's all due to the group of cadets who will be visiting Beaumont Hamel on the 100th anniversary this Canada Day, and also, of course, the 100th anniversary of Beaumont Hamel itself. No doubt an experience of a lifetime, and the council had received a request for support through their fundraising efforts, and I'm pleased to report that we will be donating $1,500 to the cadets for their trip. So I'm going to ask the group of cadets now, as well as the leaders, to come on up here front and accept the presentation. Get you to come on in and keep falling across here so we can get everybody in there. Well, I guess, welcome. Thanks for coming down. I know there's a bigger group. There's 15 of you guys going all together, right?
Yes, sir.
And I guess Joyce is going to be the spokesperson for the group. I know some of you guys probably a little bit allergic to public speaking, but you're here for the money, right? So, Joyce, I understand the trip is July the 1st, obviously, is the day. When will you be leaving to go?
June 26th.
On June 26th.
Come back on July 4th. It's a 9-day trip.
Yeah.
So we're really excited about it.
I bet the experience of a lifetime, eh?
Yes.
I mean, really, I know people who visited over. Unfortunately, I haven't had the opportunity yet myself, but it's a real moving experience. And to go over there on the 100th anniversary, I can only imagine what you guys are going to experience, and something that you'll remember and cherish, I'm sure, for the rest of your life.
And our course called 1916 Beaumont Hamel, which makes it more special.
Right, and I'd be remiss as well, Joyce, if I didn't recognize all the great work that the cadets do here in the community and the organization itself. I know it's a great movement, and we've got a very healthy cadet corps here in town, and really proud of it. So I'd like to present to you this $1,500 check to go towards your fundraising efforts, and wish you all the best in your trip.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. And we'll
Really
all,
appreciate it.
thanks, Joyce, and we'll get a picture taken now, I guess. Or good. All right. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you very much.
Nice to see you. As I said, trip of a lifetime, and certainly proud to be supporting that trip that's coming up in just a few short months. And guys, you're not sticking around for the meeting? Thanks. Yeah. Okay, well, we're not finished yet. We do have a couple of other very special guests here. And before I get into a little bit of a spiel, I guess I'd like to call upon a couple of special athletes in central Newfoundland. Joining us this evening, we have Miss Stacy Woolridge, who's from Botwood, but competes with the Exploits Hurricanes Special Olympics team. And also Melvin Hannums, who's from Grand Falls-Windsor. Most people very familiar with Melvin, of course, around town. So I'm going to ask you guys to come up now. We've got a presentation for you as well. Come on up here. So I should mention that Stacy and Melvin competed in the national games, of course, in Corner Brook just about a week ago now. And Stacy won 3 medals in total. So you had a gold medal and 2 bronze?
Yep.
A gold medal and 2 bronze, so that's... And Stacy, you competed in snowshoeing, right?
No, cross-country
Oh,
skiing.
cross-country skiing, sorry, my mistake. So cross-country skiing was your sport on all different lengths, I guess?
Yeah, the 100 meter, the 500 meter, and the 1K.
And which one did you get the gold in?
The 100 meter.
Excellent. Well, I'm sure you were excited. Did you enjoy your time over during the week?
It was cold out, but other than that,
I bet, yeah. Well, I know we heard nothing but great things, and thanks for representing us so well. And I'm going to give you a presentation very shortly. But before I do that, Melvin, my buddy. We know each other quite well, don't we? Yeah. And Melvin is very familiar around town, and like Stacy, represents us quite well as part of the Exploits Hurricanes. And Melvin was into snowshoeing. And what meter was it that you won the medal in, Melvin?
200 meter.
In the 200 meter? And Melvin got a bronze medal in the 200 meter, so awesome job by I should ask you before I let you go, like how many years, you guys are both veterans really, right? So how many years you been competing, Stacy?
11 years.
11 years in Special Olympics, and would you consider this like your highlight, the national games?
Oh, yeah.
You've won a lot of medals before.
Oh, yes, a lot in provincials.
Yeah, I bet, and you...
It's easy to get a medal in provincials.
Not the nationals, though. Yeah, well, gold medal means that you're the very, very, very best in the whole country, and that's certainly something to be extra proud of.
Well, I was in Division F2 and in the 100 meter, and there were 6 girls that competed in the first division, F1, so I'm like the 7th fastest 100 meter skier.
Excellent.
Tied with a PEI skier. Shane and I were both tied.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great, Stacy,
Yeah.
and I know you've been around a long time doing a great job, and I'm sure you're going to compete for many more years yet, right?
Maybe.
Yeah? See how it goes? I'm sure Mom's probably finding trouble getting space for all your trophies and awards.
Oh, yeah, we need to build a case. I just got them hanged up around the
Yeah?
closet.
You need to get a case, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And Melvin, how many years have you been competing?
15.
15 years?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Got 11 medals.
I know you do. You
Can't
showed me.
count 'em.
You can't count them all.
10 minutes.
You got a special spot for yours, or?
I got case for mine.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got some hang up.
yeah. So you got some hanging up, some in the case?
Yeah.
Can't fit them all in the case?
Can't fit it all though.
No. Well, guys, we got a certificate and a letter that we'd like for you to keep to add to your collection of memorabilia that you'll remember proudly, I'm sure, you should be very proud of right now. So Stacy, on behalf of the town of Grand Falls-Windsor and Council, I'd like to give you that certificate. And Melvin, there's one for you as well. Congratulations again.
You at game Friday night?
I was, you know,
I got the pop.
I saw you dropping the puck. You did an excellent job, too. It was awesome. Any? Yeah. We're going to get a picture taken now. Melvin, can you get it? Oh, open it up there now, and we'll get a little... Open that there? Yeah, here you go.
Any nails, nothing?
I had trouble with that myself.
Oh, yeah, that's beautiful.
All right.
I heard that there was a medal for dancing over there, now more one that did.
Melvin, you did a bit of dancing, did you?
Yeah.
Well, guys, again, thank you very much for coming in this evening, and congratulations again on your medals, and I know you'll continue to do us proud in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I won't get into a big spiel about the Special Olympics. Anybody who heard me speak to it before knows how much I enjoy watching, and I'll just say very quickly, there's a lot to be learned by everybody when you watch the Special Olympics and those athletes compete and how they do it in the spirit of sportsmanship, and it's just amazing to watch, and to have such a great organization here in Grand Falls, Windsor, and the Central region, and the volunteers that make it happen. Hats off to them, and we're certainly going to continue to support the Special Olympics here at the Grand Falls Windsor Town Council. So, yeah, thanks, guys. Okay, with that, I'd like to officially get things started and welcome everybody to meeting number 459 of the Town of Grand Falls Windsor Council. And I'll simply turn things over to our town manager, who will take care of a little special ceremony that we're going to have.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For those of you who don't know, I am the Chief Returning Officer for the Town of Grand Falls, Windsor, and of course, this is incumbent in my position as the town clerk for the town. And my role as the Chief Returning Officer is to organize and execute the election, which I obviously can't accomplish by myself. So I'd like to take this opportunity to publicly thank Gary Hennessy and Cara Murray, who did the bulk of the work on the groundwork on the election. And I'm proud to say that they did it extremely well. I would also like to thank all the deputy returning officers and the poll clerks who worked in the advanced poll and on election day. And you know, the vast majority of these poll clerks and DROs work every election, and they know their jobs quite well. I would also like to thank and commend the 7 candidates who ran for election. I mean, they have my highest respect for demonstrating their civic pride and committing the time and the energy and the finances to take part, you know, in order to attempt to be a part of our municipal government. And in Grand Falls, Windsor, over the years, all the elections that I've been involved in, it takes a lot of work to run a campaign. You've got to knock on doors. You've got to, you know, there's just a monumental effort, and my hat goes off to every single person who puts themselves forward for election. They don't know what they're in for. And this brings me to the swearing-in ceremony, and congratulations are in order to Peggy, Bartlett, and Mike Browne, who topped the polls and gained the confidence of the majority of our citizens. And I have to say, you know, for a by-election, typically for by-elections in any town or city, they tend to have a fairly low voter turnout. And we had 40%. We had 4,200 people who cast a ballot in a by-election, which just goes to show that there is quite an interest in our town, in civic affairs, and I was very pleasantly surprised. And we always want to have the voter turnout higher, 100%, which is impossible. But we had a very good turnout, and I think it's a testament to the vigorous campaign that all 7 candidates ran. There was a lot of activity. There was, the signage and the visibility of candidates around town was very similar to a general election. For the swearing-in ceremony, it's a fairly simple but solemn ceremony. Certainly a lot easier than running a campaign and getting elected. What I will do, just to explain the process, I will call upon each of them to come forward and swear an oath of office, after which they will become official councillors for the town of Grand Falls-Windsor. Once they sign the oath, they will then take their seats at the council table and participate in their first council meeting here tonight. First of all, I'd like to ask Ms. Peggy Bartlett to come forward. Peggy, just recite the oath down to "So help me God."
And on the bottom.
Yes, ma'am.
I, Peggy Bartlett, do solemnly swear that I am fully qualified to hold the office of councillor for the municipality of Grand Falls-Windsor, to which I have been elected. I have not, by myself or any other person, knowingly contravened the Municipal Elections Act respecting any matter in relation to my election. I will faithfully, to the best of my ability, perform the duties and responsibilities of my office and will not allow any direct or indirect monetary or other personal or private interest to influence my conduct or affect my public duties in public matters. I will disclose any personal, direct, or indirect monetary interest that I have in a matter before council and will not participate in the discussion or vote on any such matter. I will, if required by law, file an annual conflict of interest disclosure statement. I will, as required by the Municipal Election Act, file a campaign contribution disclosure statement within the required time period established by the Act. So help me God.
Okay, you sign right here. Right here. Congratulations, Councillor Barker. I present you, Councillor Barker. Did anybody want to take pictures? Want some more pictures? That was a good one. Yeah, that was a faux pas. Sorry, Councillor Bartlett. Okay, Mr. Browne.
I, Mike Browne, do solemnly swear that I am fully qualified to hold the office of councillor for the municipality of Grand Falls-Windsor, to which I have been elected. I have not, by myself or any other person, knowingly contravened the Municipal Elections Act respecting any matter in relation to my election. I will faithfully, to the best of my ability, perform the duties and responsibilities of my office and will not allow any direct or indirect monetary or other personal or private interests to influence my conduct or affect my public duties in public matters. I will disclose any personal direct or indirect monetary interest that I have in a matter before the council and will not participate in the discussion or vote on any such matter. I will, if required by law, file an annual conflict of interest disclosure statement. I will, as required by the Municipal Elections Act, file a campaign contributions disclosure statement with the required time period established by the Act, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
Councilor Browne. All yours, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Well, just to follow up on Mike's comments, and the town manager it is, we got 2 Mikes now and a couple of Barrys. Should be a stipulation, you can't run for office if there's someone already here with that name. But I'd like to congratulate both, Peggy and Mike. I know we had 7 strong candidates with 7 good campaigns, and I know how hard you guys worked to get here. I look forward to working with you. I look forward to debating with you, and I look forward to working together in a common goal, which is making Grand Falls-Windsor a better and the best place to live. And I know that that's your goal, I know it's our goal, and a lot of differing views and a lot of common work will achieve many good things. And without anything else said, what I'd like to do is allow Councillor Bartlett and Councillor Browne now, if they would like, to say a few words. So I'll start with Councillor Bartlett. Yeah, that's live.
Yeah, I just want to keep it brief. I just want to thank the entire team who supported me in the back row too there, who believed in me, and really they were the pushing ones, the ones that were pushing me to the campaign. So without naming people, because I know if we name people, we always miss a name or two. So the team knows who they are and those who supported me, so I really appreciate it. I also want to have a special thank you to the voters in Grand Falls-Windsor who supported me and put their faith and trust in me. They voted me in, obviously, like Mike, to represent them, and I will do to the absolute best of my ability to represent them and to be a strong, positive voice on council for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bartlett. Councillor Browne.
Okay. Like Councillor Bartlett, I'd like to thank the people of Grand Falls-Windsor for showing their support and electing me. My campaign team is in full swing up there. I will mention one of my campaign workers had a medical emergency on Friday, and I'd like to wish him best, and I know I speak on behalf of everybody here to wish John McSween better health. We had a pretty good day today, and I will acknowledge his daughter Courtney, who's representing John here tonight in the audience, so thanks for coming, Courtney. I really appreciate it. With having said that, I look forward to working as a team to better Grand Falls-Windsor, and I can assure the taxpayers that their best interests will be served by me, and I'll be speaking on behalf of them whenever necessary. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Browne. And I'm sure we haven't heard the last of 2 of ye. All right, we're going to move on now into the meeting, so we'll start with the adoption of the minutes. Okay, we'll give a second for more people who don't want to stick around and listen to us. We'll let the guests file out there before we get going. Politics is just so fickle, you know? You're here one day, gone tomorrow. Okay, we'll move into the adoption of the minutes for meeting number 458. So first of all, any errors or omissions? Hearing none, I'll ask for a mover. Councillor Morris, a seconder. Councillor Pinsent. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carried. Business arising out of the minutes. Any business arising? Hearing none, we'll move right along. The disbursement report. Councillor Pinsent.
Mayor, I move disbursement report for the month for $161,216.04 be adopted.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Pinsent. I look for a seconder. Councillor Coady Davis. Any discussion on the disbursement report? Hearing none, all those in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carried. Committee reports. First up is Economic Development and Tourism. Councillor Coady Davis.
Thank you, Mayor. The Economic Development and Tourism Committee met on Monday, February 29th at 4:30 p.m. In attendance were myself as chair, Deputy Mayor Darren Finn, Councillor Bruce Morris, Councillor Tom Pinsent, and Mike Pinsent, Town Manager Clerk. First item on the agenda, the tourism brochure. The committee discussed updating the Grand Falls-Windsor tourism brochure. It is recommended that staff prepare a mock-up for council's review. It is also suggested that the golf course, Gorge Park, the Royal Canadian Legion Museum, and Heritage be added to the brochure. Newsletter. The committee discussed preparing a newsletter outlining special events, new councillors, upcoming capital projects, and new programs. The committee recommends that all departments submit a list of topics to be included. The Heritage Society. The committee recommends that the Heritage Society be invited to the next Economic Development and Tourism Committee meeting to discuss ongoing topics and issues. Tourism Destination Visitor Appeal Assessment. The committee had a discussion on the recent Hospitality Newfoundland and Labrador report regarding what needs to be done to strengthen the ability to grow the tourism industry. There were a total of 16 findings in the report, and many dealt with community and industry collaboration. The committee recommends that this be addressed at the next joint council meeting. It also recommended that further investigations into the detailed findings be conducted. Mobile website app. Several municipalities have adapted their new website so they can be accessed on mobile devices. The initial one-time cost is $1,200 for initial design and development to accommodate iPhone and Android phone, as well as $1,200 per year for hosting and maintenance. The committee feels this would be a valuable service for our residents and recommends the town proceed with the app. Business Development Office report. The committee reviewed a report from the Business Development Officer. The highlights are: the Meals on Wheels Committee are working towards moving from an ad hoc committee to a formal not-for-profit organization. They are planning for a pilot program of 15 clients to work out the logistics. The next meeting is scheduled for March 7th of 2016. Excite's Genomics Research Project has a target date for formal announcement on April the 6th, 2016. The Youth Mental Health Conference will be held on April the 28th and 29th. This town is facilitating the conference with Dr. Lynette Powell. It will feature 2 experts in this field, and registration is expected to be approximately 60 people directly involved in youth mental health. The NLMA will be holding their board meeting in Grand Falls-Windsor on April 15th, 2016. This will give the town an opportunity to discuss our health care initiatives. Community Garden. The committee discussed the concept of developing community gardens for use by the general public. This would be an initiative to bring awareness to the food security and sustainability issues facing the province. The committee recommends that council consider this project. Our meeting adjourned at 6:30 p.m. and I move the recommendations and report of this committee.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Coady Davis. Looking for a seconder. Councillor Pinsent. Any discussion on the economic and development minutes? Councillor Bartlett.
While Mr. Browne and myself are 2 new councillors, we've not been privy to any discussions or prior committee meetings, but it is a requirement of the Municipalities Act, I think, that we vote, so we will be voting accordingly.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks for that. Any other discussion on the economic development tourism minutes? And just to add on Councillor Bartlett's point, all councillors, of course, would get a package, and the meetings were taking place, and Councillor Bartlett hasn't had the opportunity, nor has Councillor Browne, to get up to speed, so to speak, on a lot of these issues. I think that's what you're referring to, but you're obligated to vote when you're in this chamber, no matter what the issue. You can't sit on the fence, so thanks for clarifying that. Okay, no other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Contrary-minded? Motion carried. Parks, Recreation, and Special Events, Councillor Moores.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Parks and Rec and Special Events Committee met on March 1st, 4:30 p.m. Present was Mayor Manuel, myself, Councillor Coady Davis, Councillor Pinsent, and Deputy Mayor Darren Finn. Staff included Mike Pinsent, Town Manager, and Keith Antler, Director of Parks and Rec. Joe Byrne Memorial Score Clock Sponsorship Agreement. The Director of Parks and Rec informed the committee of a clause in the previously accepted submission for the Joe Byrne Memorial Score Clock Agreement. That was linked to a volume commitment which was not in the request for the proposal. The committee recommends the director contact the bidder to finalize the agreement as per our specific criteria. Recreation scheduling computer software. The director informed the committee he participated in a webinar from Maximum Solutions and a presentation from Town Suites regarding the scheduling and ticket software for the Parks and Rec Department. The committee recommend the director obtain more detailed information and an exact cost for the suppliers to ensure this appropriate software needed for our recreation programs. Recreation capital update. The committee discussed the possible capital purchase of 2 lawnmowers versus the purchase of a grass sweeper, which was approved in the 2016 town capital. To better decide which meets the grass mowing requirements, it is in all our recreation facilities. The committee recommends purchasing the 2 lawnmowers. The committee also discussed the curtain and drapery capital request for special spectator events in the Joe Byrne. The committee recommend the director get a final cost and layout of the necessary equipment and report back to the committee. Recreational grant funding. The committee discussed the current recreation travel grant, community organization grants, program development grants, and leadership grants. The committee recommends that the Director of Parks and Rec work with the Director of Finance to come up with the criteria, the application forms, and funding amounts, and report back to the committee. Travel grants correspondence. The committee discussed 3 travel grants requests for a youth minor hockey tournament in Toronto as part of the Atlantic Provinces team, 1 for the youth volleyball tournament as part of the Newfoundland and Labrador Summer Games, and 1 for an adult curling team traveling to the provincial championships in Stephenville. The committee recommends both youth requests be approved for $300 each. The committee recommends the curling request be denied as it does not meet the grant criteria. Program special events update. Parks and Rec Director presented the programs and activities the Park and Rec Department are organizing or co-sponsoring in the next few months, which includes the 25th anniversary Facebook challenges, which will be on weekly, couples cooking class, which will be on March the 7th, Easter egg hunt, which will be on March the 26th, male and female boxing classes will be held in April, TOTS program camp for ages 2 to 5 will be in April, and they will be held on a Tuesday and a Thursday. Ale and Pizza Night on April the 29th. Y2C Healthy Kids Day on May the 1st. Crime Stoppers Dog Show on June the 5th. And high school reunion on July the 9th. The meeting here adjourned at 7:50 p.m. and I move the recommendation and report of the committee.
Thank you, Councillor Moores. It's been moved by Councillor Moores. Looking for a seconder. Councillor Finn, Deputy Mayor, I should say, second. Any discussion on the Parks and Rec minutes? Deputy Mayor.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple of remarks. The minute on the recreation scheduling computer software, is about software that the department could utilize, is being investigated. We're just investigating the options. Obviously, there's a cost, but, you know, if we went down the road, it would allow the public to go online and book your seats in the Joe Byrne Stadium or the Windsor Stadium, or book tickets generally, allow people to register for some of our programs that are summer programs, or any program that we offer. So it allows that interaction with the public. So it's important, you know, that we move in that direction. But this minute is only about the fact, reporting the fact that we're looking into options and for the functionality of them and what fits best with the software that we have at the town hall now, which is Town Suite predominantly. So that's what that's about. The other thing, Mr. Mayor, I wanted to add is the, with respect to the curtain and drapery capital, which is basically drapery that would allow the Recreation Department to partition the Joe Byrne Stadium depending on the size of an event. Also makes events more aesthetically pleasing. Again, this is not a decision that's being made, but more about we're investigating whether or not what the cost is and obviously what the benefits could be for depending on what that cost is. So I just wanted to add those couple of remarks because maybe the minute was a bit vague in terms of what it was that was being minuted. So I just wanted to add that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Finn. And just to add to that thought process when it comes to curtains and drapery particularly, it gives the town an opportunity to make a mini auditorium, if you will, if we so choose or if it's necessary. We've found, particularly in the last couple of years, we've been trying to run a lot of these new programs which are evidenced in the minutes. Space becomes a factor, whether it be gym space or auditorium space. We've been supporting groups like Northcliffe Drama, the Fresh Start Theater, you've got ballet groups in town, dance groups in town. So this would allow us to, in spring and summer particularly, when the ice is not down, to have a stage on the floor with the glass down and use the seating, the existing seating in the arena with the curtains around to make a nice little auditorium where we would be able to host events and that. So again, just in the investigative stages. Any other comments, discussion on the Parks and Rec minutes? I got a couple more things just want to mention. One is there was made mention there of the Facebook challenges, and I know staff has been doing a great job with being creative about the Facebook challenges. We've got ones going on all the time. We've had 20, 30,000 views in a lot of these, a lot of participation, so I'd encourage people, if you haven't already taken part in the Facebook challenges, to go on. I believe there is a new one today, and there'll be many more to come, especially when it comes to recognizing the 25th anniversary of Grand Falls-Windsor. So a great job by the staff on that, and to keep it up, because you can see all the different activities that are going on now in Grand Falls-Windsor, and it's an effort, I guess, just to give people options of what they can do. You know, we got a lot of different people in town with a lot of different interests, so we're trying to test the waters in a lot of areas there. You see one of the things there is a beer and pizza event. Maybe not your conventional event. We had a wine and art event there a little while ago. It was a huge success. And basically, you know, we filled up space in no time at all. Had to add a second session, and so there is interest out there for these types of activities. So we'll continue to see what the general public wants, and certainly what the demand is there for are things that we want to provide. Any other comments? Councillor Bartlett? Yeah?
To see this kind of, involvement with the families, and not only that, but the younger people as well, from the Facebook and online, and from the young kids and the older kids. It shows a great community spirit, especially in our year, the 25th anniversary year. So you're to be commended for that.
Thank you very much. Okay, we've got a mover and a seconder on the Parks and Recreation minutes. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Finance and Administration, Councillor Pinsent.
Just give me a second there, Mayor. The pad, there we go. These fancy pads are not working the way they should. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Councilor King Coady Davis. You're going to pay for that later. The Finance Administration Committee met on Thursday, March 3rd at 4:30. In attendance is myself as chair, Mayor Barry Manuel, Councilors Darren Finn, Bruce Moores, and Amy Coady Davis, staff Barry Griffin, Director of Finance and HR, and Town Manager Mike Pinsent. Labor report. The committee reviewed the labor cost as of week 8. The total labor for it was $415,976. This was $14,494, or 3.5% under budget. The committee recommends that staff continue to monitor labor cost. Fuel consumption, mileage. The committee reviewed fuel consumption, prices, and mileage for 2015. Total diesel cost for the year was $154,962, a decrease of $38,548, or 20% of the projected budget. Total gasoline cost for the year was $105,346, a decrease of $4,805, or 4% from the previous year. Reduced consumption and lower prices contributed to the decrease. Capital bunker gear washing machine. The committee discussed a request for the purchase of an industrial washing machine. The committee recommends that the Director of Finance obtain more information for further discussion. Just to let the general public know, the machine that we're talking about in the fire department, there is a need for, obviously, to have their bunker gear, and when they come back from a fire, it's a more cost effective for us to clean the bunker gear than send it out to the mainland for cleaning, which costs more. So we're looking at which one is more advantageous. So that's what's going on with that. Travel grant, community grants. The committee reviewed the current policies of travel grants and community grants. The committee recommends the Director of Finance review this with the Director of Recreation for discussion at the next committee meeting. Manual Life Financial Pension Plan. The committee reviewed the financial performance of the town's defined contribution pension plan. Total balance as of December 31st is $5.4 million. There is a total of 98 members enrolled in this plan. Exploit Search and Rescue. The committee reviewed a request for funding towards a new mobile command center. The committee recommends this be reviewed at a future date as fundraising efforts progress. The town of Grand Falls-Windsor recognizes the great work and service that this organization provides. It was noted that the town of Grand Falls-Windsor make significant contributions to this vital organization. Another Newfoundland Drama Company Incorporated. The committee reviewed the December 31st, 2015 year-end financial statements for the A&D Company. Net loss for the year was $5,938. The committee recommends that the A&D Company Board continue to oversee the activities. The committee also reviewed the 2016 budget and recommends this be accepted. While the loss was not something that I think any of the board were happy with, however, steps have been taken that this year hopefully it's going to turn a profit as they've added another show. So that's what's going on there. Grand Falls-Windsor Cataracts. The committee reviewed a request from the Grand Falls-Windsor Cataracts to attend the 2016 Allen Cup in Steinbach, Manitoba. The committee recommends $5,000 be approved for this. The committee received a request from the Central Female Bantam AAA Ice Pack to represent Newfoundland in the Atlantic Championships taking place in Liverpool, Nova Scotia. The committee recommends this be referred to the Parks, Recreation, and Special Events Committee. Funding requests. The committee reviewed a request from the Patrick J. Council, number 8700, to support the community luncheon program on a monthly basis. The committee recommends an annual grant of $1,800 be approved for this cause. Taxation, utilities, and cable. The committee reviewed the revenue from taxation of utilities. Total revenue reported to date is $755,745, resulting in a budget shortfall of $8,245. Job position, IT assistant, accounting clerk. The committee reviewed the current job description for IT assistant, accounting clerk. The committee recommends that staff amend this job description for review at the next meeting. The Center for Forest Science and Innovation Contribution Agreement. The committee reviewed the Center for Forest Science and Innovation Contribution Agreement. Total funding for this is $57,500. Council required contribution is $7,500 in kind. The purpose of this project is to conduct stakeholder consultations for the Grand Falls-Windsor Mill Site development opportunities. The committee recommends the agreement be accepted. The meeting adjourned at 7:30 p.m. I move the recommendations and the report of this committee.
Thank you, Councillor Pinsent. Has been moved by Councillor Pinsent, seconded by Councillor Moores. Any discussion or comment on the, yes, Councillor Bartlett?
Just one question, and I don't know you may know the answer, I'm not sure, I just want to get it for an update. When it says the committee reviewed the year-end financial statements for a group, does that mean it's somewhere on our website that we can also look at it, or for the public, I'm thinking?
Okay, but you're talking about the A&D company?
Yes, or
Okay.
the pension plan, or any of the other financial things that are
It's
reviewed?
included in all of our minutes.
Okay, so it's part
Now,
of the minute package.
as A&D company, so just for the benefit, and I have no problems answering the question, the A&D company is we, of course, as you know, we've been briefed, is that there's 4 main committees
Right.
that we've been reporting on here. There's a number of subcommittees that are also arms of council. And the A&D company, which is our dinner theater, they have a board of directors as well. And the board of directors is made up of myself as one of the councilors, Councilor Coady Davis, and there's some people from the general community. I think it's Rose Bungie and Bruce Andrews, and we have an accountant, Dave Kerrigan. And so we meet on a regular basis to ensure that you know, they need the funding, but also to progress to see how they're doing financially. Because although they're sort of an arm of council, we're still responsible for their financial. So we want to make sure that, you know, they at least are staying above water, because they bring a lot of tourism into the town. So, but we still want to see them that they're at least, you know, try to keep them as close to break even or make some money as we possibly can. So those minutes are available, and they're available within our town minutes as well. So they're, all of that is, yes, it's absolutely available, and, you know, anybody wanting to come in and see them, by all means, they're allowed to see them.
I'm
And
not
the
just
same thing goes-
specifically looking at that one, I'm just thinking of any of the ones that you
All of
review
those
as
would
part.
run the same way.
Yeah,
They would
all
run the
part
same
of it.
way. And-
Thank
And
you.
even the, you know, at our meetings, we would see all the gas reports and
Yeah.
all the reports, and they're done on, pretty well on a monthly basis. And they're there for just about anybody to see, and of course, we review them. But as you can see, many people just don't find the time to see
I
them,
know.
so.
I know. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pinsent, Councillor Bartlett. I just want to remind everybody, when we speak, we should address the chair, and we'll give one person to speak at a time, and then we'll keep decorum that way, okay? Deputy Mayor Finn, you wanted to say something?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just, I wanted to respond to Councillor Bartlett's question. Because to her question, I think, I'm not sure if you really got the answer you're looking for on that. Because with respect to, the full answer, with respect to the A&D company, I'm not sure if we've ever put their income statement at the end of the year on a website or published it in any way. We normally publish the results of a loss or a profit, their attendance, those kinds of issues. And we haven't, it's not necessarily directly available unless you go look for it. The same would go for statements that we may get from the golf course or the Cataracts Club, where we also contribute. So you may find that there. Now, with respect to the question maybe around the pension plan, I'm not sure what our obligations are, honestly, in terms of our ability, what information we can put forward, as it's a defined members plan and as a defined contribution plan. I don't know if the town manager has any remarks about the pension plan in terms of what our obligation or our limits to publish that kind of information. So, but having said that, that's what we do, but the information is readily available. I think it could be posted if council thought it was necessary.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Finn. Any other comments, discussion on the finance minutes? Hearing none, I just got one comment there. The $1,800 community kitchen grant goes to the PJ Counters Council. Basically, they were looking for $150 a month because every second Wednesday they have a community kitchen which is very well attended for people in town who could use that meal, and they do a great job. It was suggested that we would go with a annual grant as opposed to $150 per month, and we'll be posting a sign at the facility at the St. Joseph's Hall that would recognize the town's contribution to that program, and just like to mention that and certainly congratulate and thank all the people involved behind the scenes of that, many of whom will be also involved in the Meals on Wheels program that is continuing to progress and we hope will be on wheels very soon. Any other discussion? Deputy Mayor Finn.
I don't know if you want to make a comment on the Center for Forest Science and Innovation, the contribution agreement. I did note that you'd done an interview this week, last week?
I think so.
With the advertiser, sorry. And I did read it, but maybe you want to reiterate some of the points, or maybe I'll just go ahead.
means.
You know, it is an initiative with in conjunction with the provincial government and the Center for Forest Science and Innovation, and it's a study basically into other uses other than pulp and paper, and not excluding pellets in terms of other uses for our forest resources in Grand Falls-Windsor. And it's a study that is useful to government and a study that could be useful to council in terms of having a body of information to help decision makers in getting to the point of making a decision and making that resource available to some heavy industry in some mixture, whether it's biofuels or pellets or finished wood products, any of these streams, and certainly there's others. So this is a joint initiative with the Center for Forest Science and ourselves, and it's part of the puzzle of moving forward in terms of getting that resource developed. I just wanted to add, I don't know if you wanted to add anything else, Mr. Mayor.
No, I think that pretty well sums it up. I don't know if the town manager wanted to add anything to that. He's been working on that as well. But I think you covered everything. And obviously, I mean, the obvious thing to be said there is that we're very concerned that we're surrounded by a forest resource that we haven't seen much use from in recent years, and we'll continue to lobby government, and hopefully very soon we will find a sustainable use so that we can reap the economic benefit not only here in Grand Falls-Windsor but in the entire region and the province. So thanks for that, Deputy Mayor. Okay, any other comments, discussion on the finance minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor? Contrary-minded? Motion carried. Public Works and Planning, Councilor, Deputy Mayor Finn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Public Works and Planning Committee met on Wednesday, March 9th at 4:30 p.m. Present were myself as the chair, Councilor Amy Coady Davis, Councilor Tom Pinsent, Councilor Bruce Moores, Mayor Barry Manuel, Town Manager Mike Pinsent, Director of Engineering and Works Jeff Saunders. Also attending, Ms. Arnold also attended at 6 p.m. Home-based business, 15 Coronation Street. A request was received for a home-based business at 15 Coronation Street to provide beauty salon, hair and nails, and body art, tattoos, services. Hours of operation will be Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. There will be 5 to 6 visits per day. The notice was placed in the local newspaper and mailed to the property owners within close proximity to the proposed home-based business. 2 letters were received regarding parking issues. The committee recommends the applicant provide a parking plan to the engineering department for consideration. The application, including the parking plan, will be reviewed at a future meeting. Home-based business, 36 King Street, sewing and alterations of garments. The committee discussed an application for a home-based business at 36 King Street for sewing and alterations of garments. The committee recommends this be approved. Development Regulation Amendment Number 3, Main Street. The committee reviewed the information presented and resolution to adopt rezoning a parcel of land on Main Street from single-unit small lot residential zone, RS2, to single-unit compact residential zone, RS1. Also amending Regulation 21, single-unit compact residential zone, RS1, to include subsidiary apartment. The committee recommends the resolution to adopt be approved. Correspondence, Mr. and Mrs. McDonald, Cater Avenue. land request. The committee reviewed correspondence from Mr. and Mrs. McDonald concerning land on Cater Avenue. The committee recommends that staff meet with the McDonalds to discuss the development. Correspondence, Mr. Lacy, that says Greenwood, I think it's Glenwood.
It is Glenwood.
It's Glenwood. Correspondence, Mr. Lacy, 8 Glenwood Avenue, land request. The committee discussed correspondence from Mr. Lacy concerning a small parcel of land that he and 3 neighbors have developed and included in their residential lot. This land was available when a small access road was eliminated approximately 20 years ago. Mr. Lacy is requesting that this land be given to him, and he will have it surveyed and included with the property he presently owns. The committee recommends that the land be sold as backland at $1 per square foot plus legal survey and HST. Crown land, Greenwood Avenue, the estate of Miss Gilbert. The committee reviewed a request for Crown land for the estate of Miss Gilbert that has been occupied since 1955. The committee recommends this be approved. Scott Avenue, Trans-Canada Highway East ramps, signage and lighting. The committee discussed concerns raised by lack of signage and lighting at the Scott Avenue Trans-Canada Highway East ramps. Staff has contacted the Transportation and Works Department requesting a meeting to discuss the lack of signs at all Trans-Canada Highway ramps through Grand Falls-Windsor, but have not yet had any response. The committee recommends that staff follow up with the Department of Transportation and Works on a meeting to discuss signage and jurisdictional responsibilities for their installation and maintenance. The committee also recommends that the street lighting be installed at Scott Avenue Trans-Canada Highway East ramp intersection when power is extended to the ski trail facility. Ms. Arnold, back lane of Scott Avenue. Ms. Arnold presented 2 concerns to the committee. Number 1, snow clearing at the back lane of Scott Avenue, Ms. Arnold stated, is the main access to these properties, 87 to 91 Circular Road, for ambulance services, oil delivery, etc. Initially, this was plowed, but council has been in a dispute for the past several years. She is requesting on behalf of herself and neighbors that this be plowed. Issue number 2, the town compost facility. Ms. Arnold requested that the compost facility on Scott Avenue be relocated because of the foul odor during the summer months. Ms. Arnold was excused at 6:20 p.m. The committee recommends that staff plow the back lane off Scott Avenue to the western side of house number 91 Circular Road and to the end of the asphalt to the east. The committee also recommends that Ms. Arnold contact town staff when she experiences compost odor issues so it can be investigated and concerns addressed. Flooding issues during the recent mild weather. The committee reviewed several areas that experienced flooding during the recent mild weather. Snow Crescent Salvation Army parking lot, number 1. The rear parking lot of the Park Street Citadel flooded and caused problems for a resident on Snow Crescent. Staff uncovered a blocked storm sewer, and this system is now functioning. Staff also constructed a gravel berm to prevent water from flowing onto residential properties. Number 2, Victoria Street, 2nd Avenue. The recent upgrade to the Victoria Street sanitary sewer lift station worked very well during the recent mild weather and managed to handle the increased flows. There was flooding in one residence that was unrelated, but will be reviewed in the spring for corrective measures. Also, a tender has been called to upgrade a section of 2nd Avenue from Victoria Street to Mulrooney Avenue at a cost of $1 million. This is phase 1 of a multi-year approach to correct deficiencies in the system and minimizing the overloading due to infiltration. Number 3, Main Street, Columbus Drive. The main trunk sewer overloaded in the Main Street, Duggan Street area during wet weather events. This past month did not result in any property damage. Council has applied to the New Building Canada Fund to upgrade the trunk line that is estimated to cost $1.4 million. Investigative work must also be undertaken on the distribution system to identify problem areas and determine required actions to minimize storm sewer water infiltration in the sanitary system. Number 4, Granville Heights. In 2014, the sanitary sewer lift station was upgraded. The existing station was antiquated but did have an overflow during wet weather conditions. New environmental standards do not permit overflows. The new station was designed for maximum flows in the discharge force main. Unfortunately, during the recent wet weather, the pumps could not handle the flows and there was overloading. There was damage to several properties. This has been ongoing since the upgrade, and we have visited the homes on Granville Heights and spoken to the homeowners about the sanitary and storm sewer connections on their property. We have identified numerous issues with rain troughs, sump pumps, etc., that are connected to the sanitary system, contributing to overloading. We will work with the homeowners to correct these issues. We also have flow meters located in manhole structures on Granville Heights to record flow and narrow down search areas for infiltration. This is ongoing and is one of the most serious problem areas that must be resolved. The committee recommends that staff continue to investigate the problems and identify costs for correction for consideration of future capital works programs. Sewer repairs, 22 Sutherland Drive. The committee discussed the request of this work and recommends staff negotiate a settlement for costs incurred. Correspondence, PBO. The committee discussed the correspondence from PBO for the operations of the Saturday drop-off. The committee recommends that this be accepted and the contract be extended to March 2017. Street name. A street name is required for Amber Estates, development off Granville Heights. The committee recommends the street be named Malloy Street from the approved list. Is that not?
Malloy.
Malloy, sorry. Malloy from the approved list. Correspondence, Mr. Smith, water connection. The committee discussed correspondence from Mr. Smith requesting permission to connect to the water supply near Wooddale. This is the responsibility of the Exploits Regional Water Supply Committee, and the committee recommends it be forwarded to them for consideration. The meeting adjourned at 7:50 p.m. Mr. Mayor, I move the recommendations and report of this committee.
It has been moved by Deputy Mayor Finn. Looking for a seconder, Councillor Pinsent. Any discussion, comment on the Public Works minutes? Councillor Bartlett. Sorry, Councillor Bartlett acknowledged
just
first,
as a-
and then I'll get to Councillor Browne after that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Just as an FYI, I'm assuming when these issues arise and they go through Public Works that there's a lag and they're just continually kept into view until it's resolved, or there's some follow-up action to it. Am I correct?
Well, if I'm
For the
not-
most part?
Yeah, every issue is followed up and tried to be resolved if
Right.
it can be, you know.
Resolved or a decision made?
Sure, at some
Sure.
point, there's an end that comes to it.
Right.
Sometimes it takes a while, and this, you know, for example, the whole Granville Heights situation down there has been ongoing some time. There's a lot of property owners down there. There's a lot of things going on the properties that we're not aware of, and that's why, as the minutes pointed out, we're trying to point out and to the residents that, you know, you can't be hooked into the sanitary sewer, for example, with your eaves trough or your sump pump, and obviously putting unnecessary strain on the system in that case. But in all cases, everything is recorded, and then staff would bring that back to committee with any follow-up that has occurred since we discussed it again, and then if there's more action required and so on until issues get resolved. I don't know if the director would want to comment on that, or kind of sums it up.
Thank you.
Councillor Browne.
Yes, Mayor Manuel, with respect to the town compost facility and the order that comes from that, have we recorded in previous years, or is this something new that we're going to start recording now, the order that comes from that? Because I spoke to some people down there, and it's not nice, obviously.
Well, I have to say that, you know, and I said this to Ms. Arnold when she brought up the concern. It was the first time that I've heard that there was any concern around the odor, and as the minutes reflect there, we asked her to let us know at any time in the future. Of course, this time of year, everything is frozen down there, so there's not much of any odor coming off of anything, but now in the springtime and in the summer, if there's an odor, we'll certainly look at that and see what remediation measures can be taken to rectify it. And, you know, I would suggest to any citizens, not only in that issue, but any issue that they may have, to let us know, right? Because I think other councillors had said the same thing, and staff as well. It's the first time that we've heard that that was an issue down there. We weren't aware that anybody was experiencing odor issues from the compost. But now it is on the record, and, you know, getting back to Councillor Bartlett's point, that would be followed up on with action and hopefully remedied over time.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Finn.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, if I could just respond. You're right, quite right. It was the first time I've ever heard anything with respect to an order from the compost facility. But I will say that the compost facility is highly utilized. There are a lot of residents that are dropping off their leaves and trimmings from their gardens to that facility. And it does have a lot of use. And we put out a lot of compost that gets taken away in buckets and pickups. And so it's a very high utilization, so it's a lot of public participation in it. With respect to the order, you know, we haven't had an opportunity to discuss it, that particular issue since our committee meeting, but we'll certainly discuss it in recreation because that's where that's who manages that facility. But like a compost bin in your garden, if it's set up correctly, there's no odor. Composting is good. We encourage composting in your gardens, and we have a community compost. So we're encouraging those things, but we also know in our promotional materials that come from the MMSB that a properly run compost, including our own, that's turned over, layered with soils and browns and greens, does not create an odor. It creates good topsoil, and that's what we want. I mean, we don't want to be hauling compostable materials to North Arm paying $180 a ton. So that's where it got to go. Now we have other options for location if for some reason we can't manage it, but we can manage that. We just got to whatever's going on at that time. Never ever heard a negative comment about the compost. That was the first complaint I ever heard.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Finn. I should clarify, too, in my comments, Councillor Browne, and I'm not suggesting by any means, because it's the first time I've heard it, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. In fact, I would suggest that if residents in that area are saying it exists, well, then it does. So we would look at that later in the year when the problem arises and hopefully identify the cause. And, you know, as Councillor or Deputy Mayor Finn pointed out, there are other areas that we could move that to. It's not the ideal or what you would want to do, so hopefully whatever causes that on occasion, we could nip it in the bud, so to speak, and be able to fix it. Any other comments, questions, discussion on the Public Works minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor? Contrary-minded? Motion carried. Moving along to notice of motion. Are there any notices of motion? No notice of motion. We'll get right into other business, and we'll start with Councillor Coady Davis.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a couple of items tonight. First off, I do want to say congratulations to our new colleagues, and pleased to have a full slate here again now. Councillor Bartlett and Councillor Browne, welcome. And the fun begins now. And you'll get a great taste of how council operates next week now when we get into our committee week and our committee meetings. So looking forward to having some great conversation in those meetings. And certainly it's a learning experience every day. This is my 6th year on council. And every meeting, I pick up new information, I learn new ideas, I learn new processes, so I'm sure that you two as well will jump right into that, and we're happy to have you both here to do that with us and share the workload, because it can get quite overwhelming at times. So it's nice to have two more to kind of share the responsibility, so welcome. The couple of community events, or one community event that's coming up, and one, I guess I should talk about the previous event first. Status of Women Central, I want to say big congratulations to them on their International Women's Day dinner, which was held at the Royal Canadian Legion. I know, Councillor Bartlett, you are a member of that committee. So congratulations to you as well on that. It was a fantastic event, full house, over 200 people, women, one gentleman, Mr. Cy Thompson, who he's the man at the event, who kind of takes pictures and does the errands and the...
Takes orders from Jackie.
Well, you said that, not me, but I'm sure she'll agree. But anyway, that was a great event. The guest speaker was Linda Ross, and she's President and CEO of NL Provincial Advisory Council on the Status of Women, and had a fantastic speech at the dinner and touched on, you know, the various struggles and accomplishments that women have faced over the years and continue to face and continue to overcome and make progress in. So it was great to have her there. The entertainment, I have to say, was fantastic this year. Shannon Ivey and Taylor Ryan and Chris Feener performed, and it was excellent to see young people at that event, and their talent just shines through, and they were so entertaining. So that was great. So congratulations to everybody involved in that event. Again, a huge success, and happy to be able to get together with women and celebrate. You know, it's nice to have your own night that you could get together and you celebrate each other and you celebrate our accomplishments. So looking forward to that event continuing. And one other item for me tonight, I want to touch base on the Violence Prevention South and Central, the Exploits Valley Community Coalition, and the Status of Women Central. They are partnering with the Classic Theatre and have a musical group. It's the 2016 Juno-nominated group, the Swinging Bells, and they do swing music for kids. They are doing a show at the Classic Theatre this weekend, and the concert starts at 2 o'clock on March 19th. Attendance is first come, first served, and space is limited, obviously, because the theater only holds so many, can only hold so many people. Admission is by donation of a non-perishable food item. So I want to stress that. So get there early, bring items for the food bank, and there will be free popcorn and refreshments served by the Classic Theatre. So thank you to those groups for partnering, to very community, to positive groups in the community, and commend them on the work that they're doing, and an excellent opportunity to take your children out to experience a different type of music probably than they're used to. Maybe some of them are familiar with it in dance groups that they participate in, but for the most part, you know, the general children population may not be familiar with this type of music. So I would encourage you to get there early to ensure that you do get a seat and enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you. Was it the swinging 20s, was it, or the swinging 30s? No, I mean the decades. They refer to the 20s as the swinging 20s, don't they, with the music? If not, the 30s is one of the two, anyway. So or maybe it's the roaring 20s and the swinging 30s. But anyhow, immaterial. Councillor Morris.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to welcome Peggy and Mike to the chambers, and I'm sure we're going to have some great work for our citizens in the next 18 months. So congratulations to both of you. I'd also like to congratulate Cy on making to that meeting with the women. I'll torment him about that. He will. The Grand Falls-Windsor Refugees Outreach Committee. The mayor called me and asked me if I would serve on the committee, and we've had 4 or 5 different committee meetings. Reverend Randy Lockyer was appointed chair of the committee, and right now we're canvassing the businesses to raise the needed funds. We're going to have to raise $17,000. That will be 1/2 of the 1-year project. We got to keep the family here and support them for 12 months. And after our $17,000 is spent on the family, the federal government will step in and pay for the other 6 months. So we're doing some work. We're investigating housing for the new family. We're asking for an application for a family of 4. So we don't know yet what we're going to get. If we're going to get a couple with teenagers or children, we're not sure yet. We won't know until the application is finished. But we will be looking for people to serve on committees. There's going to be a whole whack of committees set up to take care of that family. And if you're interested in getting involved, call any committee member. And if you want to know how to contact the website, gfwrefugeesoutreach.ca. That website will be set up by the end of the week. So I encourage our citizens to get involved and have a Syrian refugee family here in Grand Falls-Windsor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor Morris, and thank you for serving on that committee. I know your experience and your contacts around town is certainly helpful when it comes to that stuff, and I'm glad as well that we have jumped aboard the effort to open our doors to Syrian refugee family, and we look forward to the end result. Good job, sir. Councilor Bartlett.
My comments will be very brief. First of all, I want to thank the mayor and Mr. Pinsent for the last 2 days. They did an excellent orientation to us in our councillor duties. And I think at the same time, we ask for forgiveness if, as new councillors, we come forward with lots of questions and lots of inquisitive things that we have no prior knowledge of. So I guess we'll depend on the support of all the councillors and again, the staff for sure. And we ask for their indulgences at times if we seem like we're asking too many questions. But you know, I thank you for the process and the forum to be able to do it on behalf of the voters. So other than that, thank you very much, and we're glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Bartlett.
I think it's more than the new councillors need to ask for forgiveness.
Yes. No doubt. Thank you, Councilor Bartlett, and you know, it's like we said, in my opinion, and I think everybody's opinion, questions are good, and that's how you get answers and learn and, you know, debate and discuss, and that's what hopefully ends up with the proper decisions being made for the town. So thanks again. Councilor Pinsent.
Mr. Mayor, I will join the chorus and welcome our new councillors, Councillor Bartlett, not Barker. And, of course, Councillor Browne. Glad to have him aboard. But rest assured, Amy, you're still one of my favorite female councillors here. So. And we like questions. I know what it was like when I first came into chambers. I didn't even know there was such thing as open business, so I was like, I had nothing to say. So you at least had something to say, so that's a great thing. Today I had the privilege to be guest speaker at the Kiwanis dinner. I thank former Mayor of Grand Falls, Paul Hennessy, for inviting me. I really enjoyed standing and taking questions and fielding questions about numerous things, our finances and taxes and all these things. And I think, and we discussed a lot about taxes and residential, I think, where people just were unsure. So I thank them for the opportunity to go do that. And they actually recruited a volunteer today, and that was me. So I'll be joining them now fairly soon, as I think their group, and they asked me to, and I'm proud to do it, to remind everybody about the Kiwanis Music Festival that's coming very soon. I think they bring a lot to the community, and they're a great group, and so I look forward to working with them. The riverfront, as we see, the mill is coming down. I came down here this evening. It's the first time I've been down here in a few days, and noticed that the old paper shed is now, it's coming down, and you're going to see a lot of movement on the mill now fairly quickly, which, once again, once the paper mill is down, as demolition is done, a riverfront development plan, and which I think is an excellent opportunity to develop our tourism. And I encourage residents to come out, and we need to hear your ideas. We got to hear your ideas, and because this is integral for our moving forward, is the development of the riverfront, and of course the Grand Falls House properties and Gorge Park and everything else that goes with it. So I encourage residents to come out as the demo is starting in here, coming near completion. Remind residents that as spring is coming, I think it's coming, although it was -22 last night, Didn't feel like spring last night. It was not the night to be out in short-sleeve shirt, that's for sure. But spring brings challenges, and some of the challenges, of course, are you're going to see the potholes start to come as it's warming up and freezing, and we're starting to see potholes. And actually today, somebody came to me and commented, Public Works, so pass it on to Public Works, that they made a phone call about a bad pothole up by Central Pharmacy, I believe, and it was fixed very quickly. Yeah, it was fixed very quickly, and he commended the Public Works people on getting on it very quickly. They do their best, and I think the two new councillors will realize that they make our life a lot easier, the professionalism that we have with a lot of the town staff and the workers, and the skills and abilities that they have. So if we pass that on to our crews. Of course, this year is 25 years as town of Grand Falls-Windsor, and of course today the Salmon Festival lineup was announced. I'd like to commend the chair of the finance of the Salmon Festival Committee, and he's going to talk about it. I'm not going to steal all your thunder, don't worry. Don't worry, but I commend him I'll let him talk about it, but I commend him on leadership he's shown in this. And I'm really looking forward to Salmon Festival again this year. I think it's a great thing, and I think hopefully we'll see great success. Of course, this year is going to be 100th year of Beaumont Hamel, and not in addition to the Army cadets going to Beaumont Hamel and with their ceremonies, the new cenotaph in our memorial grounds are going to be finally finished. They look like it now. They look like, I'm not going to say what they look like, but they're up there, and once again, that is because of the skill and expertise of our town staff again, that managed to bring that in way, way under budget. So I'm looking forward to the unveiling of that very much when we get that done. It's going to start in the spring. It'll start. Myself and the mayor, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call you deputy mayor, but I was going to call you, mayor. Myself and the mayor and Councillor Coady Davis were at the M&L Central meetings a couple of weeks ago, and one of the topics they came up with was a community garden. And one of the things one of the presentations that was done, they talked about the food, fresh food that's on the island. And it was kind of scary when you sit back and think about it, that on the island of Newfoundland, we have between 2 and 3 days of fresh produce at any one time. So if the boats are stopped for 4 or 5 days, we run our produce on our planters, which is, for food security, and we talk about fresh vegetables, that's kind of a scary thing. So it's sort of a movement afoot, and it sort of hit us, myself and Councillor Davis were talking about it after, and say maybe we should have a community garden. Maybe how can we work that? And we were commended on the farmers market that we have here, but maybe we can marry the two somehow, have a community garden, grow fresh vegetables for farmers, and maybe decorate the farmers market. And of course that would be important and good for economic development as well. Once again, welcome. I look forward to long hours of debate and arguments, and that's what it's all about, but we're all here to work towards a better Community town. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to clarify one point you made about the cenotaph. It's the refurbished cenotaph, not a new cenotaph. Hopefully it looks as good as new, and certainly a lot of character in that structure, which is close to 100 years old itself now, and needed to work. So looking forward to that as well, and being ready for the 100th anniversary celebrations that'll take place on July 1st here in Grand Falls-Windsor, as well as everywhere else, of course, across the country. And community gardens, just, a great thing. There's so many benefits that can come from that, and we can get our citizens on board, and people of all ages can take part in the community garden, and we don't have to be restricted to just one either. So it's a topic I'm glad that you guys suggested that we bring up and work towards accomplishing. I know there's been some efforts in the past that haven't worked out successfully for whatever reason, but we do need to buy in for the community participation. And a lot of times we do get that in spades, so hopefully when it comes to community gardens, we will get the same as well. Thank you. Councillor Browne.
Thank you, Mayor Manuel. Just like to thank yourself and our town manager, Mr. Pinsent, for the orientation for Councillor Bartlett and I the last 2 days. Look forward to meeting the town staff as well over, I know most of you, but look forward to sitting down and having a chat, Councillor Bartlett and I, in the coming days. One thing I did notice, just being here tonight, that we're a big supporter of youth programs and arts programs, and I think that's important to our community. I commend you guys on that, and I look forward to supporting going forward as well. Thank you very much, and we look forward to working with you guys.
Thank you, Councillor Browne. Deputy Mayor Finn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too would like to certainly congratulate Councillor Bartlett and Councillor Browne. Welcome aboard. Look forward to debates. and covering all the important business of the town. I just had, Mr. Mayor, just 3 issues I wanted to talk about tonight. One was I had the privilege and honor of judging the Miss Teen Grand Falls-Windsor pageant during the last weekend of April. February, sorry, February. Thank you. And I wanted to congratulate the winners. The winner was Miss Shanley Mitchell. The first runner-up was Kaylee Grimes Butler, and she was also the most spirited. Ashley Baker was the second runner-up, and Victoria Edwards was most photogenic. Also participating were Danica Lewis, Dakota Mercer, and Taylor Ryan. And Mr. Mayor, I had an opportunity to interview with them, and then of course we judged. It was on a Friday, and on Saturday we judged the various parts of their on-stage performances in different areas. And I have to say I was very impressed with all of them. They're all very deserving of to be winners in various categories. And you know, they really, they've done an amazing job. They're very impressive to me. And I just wanted to congratulate them. They all served themselves very well. And they can certainly all be proud of themselves. So I just want to pass that along to you and Council, Mr. Mayor. I also wanted to discuss for a minute, Mr. Mayor, a concern that I had received from a resident about the demolition of the mill. And the concern was about the removal of the siding of the mill, which is known to be an asbestos-containing material. As well, the same person complained about, gave a complaint to me about their knowledge of sludge materials that are being pushed off into cavities in the basement. So I had asked, because the complaint has come since committee, I've asked the Director of Engineering to do some inquiries to Transportation Works, because the site is being managed by Transportation Works. Of course, environmental concerns are also being managed by the provincial government. We did have an initial response on the removal of the siding, which is known to be an asbestos-containing material, that the removals were based on approvals from Service NL and are being monitored by an environmental consultant. So that was the reply we got on the asbestos-containing materials. And of course, this will come up again in our next round of committee, so we'll continue on with our follow-up. There was no response on whether or not the sludge materials, which was suggested to me, contain hydrocarbons, whether or not that was being addressed or not. But the email simply said that, of course, any contaminant, any hazardous material needs to be dealt with in the proper manner which a hazardous material has to be disposed of. So that's a concern that came from a resident who I feel has some knowledge, and we're following up on that issue. So that's important to the community for sure. The next thing I want to share with Council, Mr. Mayor, not with Council necessarily, because, well, with the new councillors, the remaining councillors would have gotten this email from the town manager, because there was an employment comparison done by the town of Gander, actually, who polled around to other municipalities, of the larger municipalities, Conception Bay, South, Grand Falls, Windsor, Gander, Mount Pearl, Paradise, and St. John's. And the town of Gander were trying to gather information in terms of, I guess, in response to their council's request for what is the level of employment with your town, and so they wanted to get a comparison for themselves. But they also shared their comparison with us through the town manager. The town manager shared it with council. And in terms of, it became, in order to get an equivalent basis, you had to get your population, your number of employees, and do a full-time equivalent comparison, like the number of employees per number of citizens. And the town of Grand Falls-Windsor's full-time equivalent positions is 99.5 positions. And that puts us the second lowest of large municipalities in terms of the number of persons that are employed. Gander came in at 92.5 positions. And then number 3 was Paradise, and then went up to, from Mount Pearl and CBS tied at 200 positions. And of course, St. John's is almost not comparable at all with 1,146 full-time equivalent positions. So the information comes from Gander, the town staff in Gander, but it does show our employment levels to be, on the lower end of the range compared to other municipalities. So I just want to share that information with the public, and I thought it was important in terms of, because I hear feedback from the community on occasion that, there are, I'll take it maybe as a criticism, like, seems like there's too many people working on a job or in the town hall or that kind of thing. And I think one way to evaluate it would be by comparing yourself to other communities. And I think any consultant that would look at it would certainly take comparison in addition to evaluating workloads. So I thought that was important to share, given that we're in the lower range. Not given that we're on the lower range, given that we have it.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
believe it's not just simply from the standpoint of sheer numbers, but also when you consider the population of these community in a ratio-based percentile, we are also very favorable in the same. I can't remember exactly now off the top of my head what they were. Can you remember? 7.7% for 1,000 per 1,000 people is our employment rate.
7.4 employees per 1,000 population.
Right.
And we were the lowest in that ratio.
Right.
Except for Paradise, which Paradise is a rapidly growing community that's primarily residential, and they don't have a fire department. They just got a new stadium, and there's a lot of staff that they don't have water treatment nor sewage treatment. That's all done by a regional service. So there's a lot of factors there, but we do have a fire department, we do have water treatment and sewage treatment, and we do have 2 stadiums, and municipal enforcement as well. So we are the lowest when it comes to the number of employees per 1,000 residents.
Yeah, I think it's important to point that out because, it's easy to say that we got less employees than CBS or Mount Pearl, for example, but people would expect that based on population. But when you look at the ratio percentile, it's a true measure. So it's good to see that we're low on that and we can still provide a good level of service. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I have a few things there to mention. I won't keep it too long. One thing was we had a meeting with the RCMP recently. A lot of the mayors in the region got together with the RCMP. Of course, there's been a lot of talk over the last year or two, particularly about the deficiencies in RCMP resources here in the local detachment, and we continue to bring those concerns forward. We did get some good news that the 24-hour policing was implemented on, I believe, on February 23rd. We do have 24-hour coverage, but it does not change the fact that we still need more resources. They kind of did some maneuvering within there to make sure that there's always officers on, but by doing that, of course, you potentially could create other deficiencies, and we brought those concerns forward and had a good discussion with Staff Sergeant Kelly Browne. Of course, when you're sitting in a room with a lot of the smaller communities around central Newfoundland, it's difficult to get at a lot of the core issues that we have as a larger community, and we impressed upon the local detachment that when they're putting their resources and their focus on Grand Falls-Windsor, that they're dealing with the more serious issues. We have a municipal enforcement group who do a great job in enforcing things like, speeding and traffic infractions and that sort of thing, and parking and so on. But there's a lot that's outside of their jurisdiction that only the RCMP can take care of. We do have a lot of issues. Crime levels have increased, and the number of assaults have increased. The The drug trade seems to have flourished here for obvious reasons. We've got 2 outlaw motorcycle gangs here in Grand Falls, Windsor that operate here. We have been doing a lot to try to attack those issues, and we will continue to do so. And the local RCMP detachment have been very serious about trying to crack down on those issues as opposed to the minor ones that we can take care of ourselves. So we'll continue to meet with them. They've been very accommodating. They are starting a program that they're going to be going into the schools now as well to get in to visit with the young people, to show their faces. They're going out this week, I think, to play a game of basketball with the students at Exploits Valley High, a group of RCMP officers, to kind of try to create a rapport there, which I think is important. And it all comes down to resources. So, you know, we just want to be treated fairly when it comes to the provincial government's support of our policing in the province, and we've made our case that we think that there are other areas that have better coverage, and we've provided statistics that back that up, and we'll continue on that. But one thing I wanted to bring up on that meeting that was brought, and I know the search and rescue group were mentioned here tonight at our meeting, but the RCMP made a point of asking us to pass along the thanks to our local search and rescue who do such a fantastic job. We unfortunately in central Newfoundland recently had another tragedy, ice-related, and our search and rescue were there from beginning to end until the recovery was made. And the RCMP couldn't say enough good about our search and rescue and how prepared they are and how serious they take their jobs. And these are 100% volunteers. These are people who take time off work, who take time away from their families, who will go out all night long, all day long, whatever it takes when the emergency arises. So, you know, they definitely deserve the recognition, and I wanted to pass that along here publicly. And I guess the other thing that can be said publicly is, you know, I know Nalcor has been in the news in the last week or two talking about the ice safety, and particularly in the area of Bishop Falls around the dam, but really this time of year, I mean, ice is dangerous no matter where you are, and the winter we've had makes it even more so. So if you're out enjoying your vehicles, your recreation vehicles, your snow machines or whatever, make sure that you're being very, very careful, and please, you know, stay off the ice at this time of year so that we don't have any more tragedies. Some bad news. The Lions Club of Grand Falls, Windsor let us know that they will be ceasing their operations here after 68 years of service in Grand Falls, Windsor, an area. And, you know, what do you say? It's just sad to hear. I know we have a very dedicated group of volunteers in the Lions organization, but unfortunately, there's not enough of them to do the work that they need to do. And they told us themselves with a heavy heart, we're packing it in, basically, and you know, more and more these days we're hearing these community organizations just can't get the volunteers out. But I'd like to thank the Lions for their 68 years of service in Grand Falls, Windsor. They've done so much to help the community in so many ways, and you could write a book, I'm sure, on the contribution that the Lions Club have made to our community over the years and continue to make. And some of those people, incidentally, did say that, look, you know, we'd still like to make ourselves available to volunteer, particularly when it relates to the Santa Claus Parade. They're concerned about the parade going forward, and I'd like to assure everybody that the parade will go on in 2016 and beyond, and we'll figure out how that's going to be done, but I can assure you that there will be a Santa Claus Parade. And again, thanks to all the members of the Lions Club organization currently and all the ones past members as well. Salmon Festival. We did release the information around the 2016 Grand Toyota Exploits Valley Salmon Festival this afternoon, and we've had a lot of discussion in the last few months about the direction to take with Salmon Fest. I will tell you, and I'm sure others would echo this comment, when I'm going around town talking to people and Salmon Festival comes up as a topic, which it does quite often, what I've been hearing overwhelmingly, let's bring it back to what it used to be. Let's get back to having a community festival. We don't need those great big bands up there on stage. We can get up there and make it affordable so that we can go enjoy a show. We can see people that we haven't seen for a while. Bring in bands local if you can. Maybe a classic rock band or something if you can. So that's exactly what we've tried to do here, and I think we've accomplished in terms of the lineup. We've got Trooper, who will headline the Salmon Festival this year, who 25 years ago in 1991, the very first year Grand Falls-Windsor was amalgamated, were the headliners. So we thought it was appropriate to make that connection as well. They'll be joined by the Stampeders, who between the two of them have, you know, I would say dozens, a lot of years, and dozens of hits and recognizable hits that you'll be able to party to and dance to on Centennial Field. Also, on the concert, there's the Once, who are an upcoming Newfoundland Labrador band, as well as Buddy Wass's name and the other fellers, who everybody knows, and they're very excited about coming. They want to do some publicity spots for us, both on radio and video that we can utilize. And, you know, Grand Toyota are back on again. I know they have supported over the last few years. And when we went and met with the local dealer principal, he was more than happy to continue, especially when he heard that we're going to go back to this community. He wanted to be a part of it. He wants to support it, and I'm glad that Toyota is going to do that. The other bands that will be on the stage for Salmon Fest will be Cabbages and Kings, and that's a relatively new band to me. I did YouTube them a few times, and they're gaining a lot of recognition as a young local band here in central Newfoundland, and they've been nominated for East Coast Music Award, and we wish them all the luck in that. But they'll be taking the stage as well, and Landlock will round out the six-band concert on Saturday. The ticket prices for early bird, there'll be a $40 ticket price plus tax and surcharge, of course, which is, you know, for that lineup, if you compare it to other concerts, other events, other things that you do for recreation, I would think is very, very favorable and very affordable, and we hope that the citizens will come out and support the concert. Other details we will have on our town Facebook page, and of course on our on a website, which will be evsalmonfestival.com. I believe it's live now, so you can get that. And just told that since we made our post today on the town Facebook page, there's over 35,000 views. So obviously, it just reinforces the power of social media. I mean, we posted that about 4.5 hours ago. And a lot of positive comments. We know you're always going to get some people who will be negative about the show, and they have their reasons for saying whatever they may say. But I was really pleased with the response today. But what I would like to say is, beyond the concert, this year we want to turn this back to a community festival. From the Thursday salmon dinner to Monday's family day, Grand Falls-Windsor Day, we want to pack it with activities. We're calling on the community and all those organizations who help us out with the Winterlude and the Red Maple Festival to come out and host your own event. So we'll have so many things and lots of options for people to take part in. We're talking about changing up the salmon dinner with some new ideas. We'll still have our Friday night dance and a tribute band. On Saturday, of course, will be concert day. We're looking forward to having a concert in the park on Sunday, which would feature local entertainment that would be free of charge. And then Monday, of course, the 25th anniversary of Grand Falls-Windsor will be celebrated with Family Day, which will be moved to Centennial Field, by the way, because there'll be more room up there to organize the rides and the bouncy castles and that sort of thing for the kids. The stage is there for entertainment. We've got the soccer clubhouse there for serving food and washroom facilities and the like. So looking forward to just an opportunity to turn over a new leaf with Salmon Fest. And again, the positive comments I heard today are very encouraging, and we'd encourage everybody to get out and support Salmon Fest this year as we have a great show and a great weekend planned, and more details will follow in the coming months. The last thing I'm going to mention, to no one's surprise, is the Grand Falls-Windsor Cataracts are, again, for the third year in a row, the Central West League champions. And I will say it wasn't even really much of a contest this year. Certainly there were some close games, but really they proved that they are the cream of the crop in that league. They will be hosting the first two games of the Herder Memorial Trophy this weekend at Joe Byrne Stadium against the winner of the Avalon East League, which I believe is going to Game 7 tonight between Torbay Eagles and St. John's Caps. So the winner will be decided out there tonight. The winning team does have the opportunity to pick up six strengthening players from their league because they need every bit of help they can get to take on our Cataracts. And so I encourage everybody to get out this weekend, support the Cataracts. Obviously, it means so much to the community to have this there as an option for people to do, get out and enjoy a game, and a nice boost to the economy they are as well, and supporting things like minor hockey. So I would like to congratulate the Cataracts in ending, and I don't have anything else. I don't know if anybody has a last word that came to mind before. If not, I will call for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Coady Davis, seconded by Councillor Morris. All those in favor? And we'll see you all next time. Thank you very much.